Chapter 459. Luo Weibing's old boss, the senior executives who secretly wanted to use this incident to destroy Luo Weibing, and his former agent were really angry. They thought that Luo Weibing signed with an unknown small company. Even if this company had a movie queen and a king, they still didn't take the other party seriously. Especially after knowing that the person in charge of this company was a woman, they subconsciously looked down on her. She was just a woman. What could she do? But reality gave them a slap in the face. The people who wanted to cause trouble didn't lose anything at all. Instead, they gained a lot of sympathy. Even the shameful things they did were exposed. Everyone gritted their teeth in anger and hurriedly held a meeting to discuss the follow-up countermeasures. However, before they could come up with any countermeasures, Su Yiyan directly declared war on them. Little Susu of Huan's family, I have a bad temper. If I can fight, I won't talk too much. Let's not beat around the bush. It's getting cold. Rue Yi should go bankrupt. Rue Yi was Luo Weibing's former agency. Seeing this post, a group of onlookers were stunned. Damn, what kind of overbearing president's declaration is this? Although she is indeed a female president. It's inexplicably exciting. You dare to mess with my artist, I'll make you bankrupt. What kind of love is this? I love such a boss. Upstairs, you're a black fan. You obviously dared to say that my husband is old and ugly. I'll mess with you. This is immortal love. Don't make a mistake. Upstairs, you dragged President Su and her husband into the water. If she doesn't make you bankrupt, her surname is not Su. Is immortal love something you can scam as you want? Ha 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 ha, I actually got candy from such a Chinibu statement. Am I hopeless? Mo Fong, from today onwards, Ice Cube is a CP fan of President Su and her husband. President Su is a CP. Let's kill these evil idiots. As these people said, Su Yiyan posted this post for her husband. It would have been fine if they had only involved her. She couldn't be bothered to waste her time with these idiots. However, it was different when her husband was involved. She had caused her husband to be scolded by so many people. They even mocked him for being old and ugly. She could not let this matter go so easily. She was determined to fight to the death with this dog company. Whoever retreated was a dog. Of course, there were also some men who couldn't stand Su Yiyan's words and began to accuse Su Yiyan of bullying others. Yo, the capitalists are starting to make their move. Even a small company dared to challenge Rue Yi. It wasn't certain who would swallow who. Let's wait for this stupid woman to be slapped in the face. She's so arrogant because she has a rich husband. What's there to be proud of? To put it bluntly, they are all jackals of the same tribe. Luo Weibing's fans are also stupid. Maybe people help your idol so much just for the unspoken rules. They even think she is good. They are really brainless. Hee, this woman doesn't look like a good person at first glance. Perhaps she's using her husband's money to keep a gigolo outside without being discovered. Even if it's discovered, it can be suppressed with money. The power of capital is really not what ordinary people like us can imagine. Some people were like this. They believed what they wanted to believe. Even if it was the truth, even if others explained it many times, they could selectively block it and be at ease as if they were blind. Chapter 460. Su Yiyan didn't care about these people's cheap mouths. She secretly noted down the keyboard warriors who scolded her husband and handed them over to the company's legal department to deal with. Little did she know that Hu Chenhuan did the same thing. He secretly noted down the keyboard warriors who slandered his wife and handed them over to the company's technical department to deal with. Both sides were allies. When they met, they felt like they were being forced to eat a bunch of dog food. Everyone. This is too much. After handing over the follow-up matters to the legal department, Su Yiyan returned home feeling refreshed. As soon as she entered the door, she saw Hu Chenhuan and Uncle Zhang watching Dun Dun face the wall to reflect. Su Yiyan blinked in confusion. What's wrong with Dun Dun? Hearing Su Yiyan's voice, everyone's gaze shifted to her, including Dun Dun, who was facing the wall the whole time and had his butt facing Hu Chenhuan. Woof, master, the dog's daddy bullied me. Nothing, it caused some trouble this morning. I punished it to face the wall for half an hour. She played down most of the main points. Dun Dun. I was clearly very obedient today. When did I cause any trouble? You're clearly using your position to take revenge on me and bully me for not knowing how to speak. Helplessly, this dog suffered because it didn't know how to speak. As soon as Su Yiyan heard Hu Chenhuan's words, she immediately understood and nodded. She said firmly, this little guy is indeed becoming more and more presumptuous recently. We should discipline it. Let it squat, I'll go cook for you. Crack, this was the sound of Dun Dun's heart breaking. Sure enough, with a stepfather, there would be a stepmother. There was no way to live like this. Su Yiyan turned to enter the kitchen, but Hu Chenhuan pulled her back first. Ha! Su Yiyan looked confused. What's wrong? I'm the most handsome person in the world. When Uncle Zhang saw that the young couple had something to talk about, he tactfully left. At this moment, there was only Su Yiyan and an autistic dog left in the living room. Hearing Hu Chenhuan's words, Su Yiyan's face instantly turned red. She said rather embarrassedly, you saw it. She had been so confident when she posted it on the internet, but now that she was in front of the person in question, she felt inexplicably ashamed. She was indeed not thick-skinned enough. Hu Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan's blushing face and smiled. Are you serious? Su Yiyan was slightly startled, but she quickly reacted and said with a serious face, of course I'm sincere. In my eyes, you're the most handsome person in the world. The smile in Hu Chenhuan's eyes deepened. He pinched her face and said, I've already sent someone to purchase Ruei. I'll hand it over to you within 3 days. Bye. Ruei. Su Yiyan was taken aback. Didn't you say that you wanted to close it down? I did say that, but at that time, she wanted to ask her brother for help, not ask Hu Chenhuan to buy the company for her. What? Nothing. Hu Chenhuan seemed to have seen through her thoughts. He sighed slightly and said, if you have any difficulties in the future, I hope that the first person you think of is me. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. After she reacted, she couldn't help but smile. Okay, I'll remember that. If I have any difficulties in the future, I'll definitely look for you first. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Hu Chenhuan's expression became better. He looked directly into Su Yiyan's eyes and said meaningfully, I heard that you were confessed to by a student at school today. Su Yiyan. Which bastard spread the news to her, and to her husband? Chapter 461. Don't misunderstand, As soon as she met Hu Chenhuan's eyes, Su Yiyan's words got stuck in her throat. She gave up and said, yes, someone asked me if I was single. Actually, it wasn't a confession. It's just that young people are a little restless. Also, I told them clearly that I'm married. She didn't do anything, so why did she feel inexplicably guilty when asked? Su Yiyan concluded that the main reason was that she wasn't thick-skinned enough. I'm sad. Ha! Su Yiyan was caught off guard by Hu Chenhuan's sudden show of weakness. Today, there were so many people scolding you and me online. It seemed like it was because of our age, but in fact, our physical disability was also an important reason. But you're almost recovered. But the people outside don't know. Hua Qinhuan looked at Su Yiyan with deep eyes. Will those who like you think that I'm not good enough for you? Will they pursue you again? I know that I shouldn't be so suspicious, but I just can't help it. I understand. Su Yiyan didn't wait for Hua Qinhuan to finish speaking and grabbed his hand first. I know what you're worried about, and I understand your concerns. As long as it involved her, Hua Qinhuan's inferiority complex would always be there. Many people wouldn't believe that this man, who was so outstanding in the eyes of those who knew him, would actually feel inferior. Because of his physical disability, and because he cared about her, he always had some doubts about himself and worried about his gains and losses. Su Yiyan was anxious and distressed. Whether it was in this life or her previous life, this man, who was strong enough to compete with the whole world, could always easily make her heart tighten. If you don't mind being watched, you can come and pick me up when I go to school next week. Hua Qinhuan's eyes lit up. Did Su Yiyan mean that he could go and claim sovereignty at any time? Okay, I'll come and pick you up. Hua Qinhuan's restless heart calmed down a little, but suddenly a trace of other thoughts appeared. I want a compensation. What kind of compensation? Tonight, let's try the game together. Although Fantasy Feast would be officially released in 4 days, as the big boss of this game, Gu Xiaoyang had already sent the two a set of game cabins. This was a super benefit that only internal employees could enjoy. As long as you want to, you can experience anything before others. Su Yiyan agreed without hesitation. It just so happens that I'm quite curious about this holographic game. Let's play together tonight. Okay. Hua Qinhuan smiled again, holding on Su Yiyan's hand. He wanted to send the virtual world he had created to her. He wanted to take her to every corner of the world and see the scenery of the world together. The two happily decided the entertainment, meeting, activity that night. Those keyboard warriors, the director, the female artists, and Rui Yi, who stood behind them, were not in such a good mood. Not long after Su Yiyan posted that post, Dongqing Entertainment listed out the list of people that needed to be dealt with. The list ranged from a certain agency to a bystander who had reposted and commented more than 500 times. As long as there was evidence of slandering the parties involved, a lawyer's letter was sent to them. Chapter 462. The first to bear the brunt were the 18th-tier actress, a certain director, and a certain management company. However, the first to panic were the keyboard warriors. These people often scolded when celebrities had scandals, and no one did anything to them. They really didn't understand why they stepped into a ditch this time. At first, these people didn't care much when they saw their IDs on the list. They only thought that Dongqing was bluffing and that it would pass after a few days. They didn't expect to receive a lawyer's letter from the other party in less than half an hour. Only then did they realize the seriousness of the matter. The first thing these people thought of was not to apologize, but to scold Dongqing's account. A small company is a small company. It's such a small matter and they send a lawyer's letter. They really don't have any tolerance at all. They deserve to be fired. It's indeed a company run by women. You're so calculative. Are you afraid that others don't know that you're so petty? Trash company. If you have the ability, sue us. We're scolding you, so what? At first, the passers-by were a little strange when they saw these comments. When they saw that these people's IDs were exactly the same as those on the list, they suddenly understood. Ha 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 ha, I was wondering why there were suddenly so many nitpicking comments. It turns out that, although it's not kind, I still want to laugh. By the way, they deserve it. This is the second time, and there are still people who don't learn their lesson. Do you think that you can casually scam me, President Su? If you dare to come forward, you should be prepared to be slapped in the face. Do you really think that no one can do anything to you through the internet? After seeing the video of President Su scolding the scumbag and mistress, you should know that she's not someone to be trifled with. You deserve it. Yo, the cancer of the straight man is everywhere. Settling accounts with you is being calculative and petty. According to what you said, those people who were scolded by you deserve it. They can't resist, right? Don't say, I like how President Su is so stubborn. If people don't offend her, she won't offend them. If people offend her, she will pay them back 10 times. Serves them right. This is the first time in my life that I've seen someone rush to be sued. Don't worry, President Su is ruthless and doesn't say much. If I say I'll wash your mouths for free, then I'll wash your mouths for free. Serves you right. There was no need for the people from Su Yiyen's company to control the comments. The passers-by who couldn't stand it had already spontaneously attacked these people until they were speechless. Luo Weibing's fans are even more happy. They can't wait to go out and buy a truck of firecrackers. My brother's luck is finally getting better. He signed with such a firm that's even tougher than a diamond, and he's going to confront Rui directly. Dong Chingchongya, press this dog company to the ground and rub it. From today onwards, Ice Cube is the most loyal fan of the official blog. Ha 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 ha, reality has proven that you'll really bump into ghosts if you walk too much at night. Didn't this trashy female artist want to use her brother as a stepping stone to rise to fame? Now it's great. After a wave of black and red, it's completely gone. Goodbye. JPG, anyone who paid a little attention to this circle would know that those keyboard warriors and water armies would be sued for nothing more than some money. If it was serious, they would be locked up for a few days. The female artist, the director, and Rui were different. To put it bluntly, the entertainment circle was all about the popularity of passers-by. If a person with bad character wasn't exposed, it was okay. If it was exposed, except for some radical fans, who would be willing to buy their account. The female artist was a D-list actress. She didn't have many fans, so naturally, she didn't have much support. This time, she was completely gone. Chapter 463. It was the same for a certain director. If he was a great director, there would be no need to rush to find people. As soon as the audition notice was released, there would naturally be many people coming to apply. Now that his reputation was ruined, the investors would most likely withdraw their investment or even hold him accountable and ask him to pay the penalty for breach of contract. The early investment had already been invested, and with the penalty for breach of contract, the director could not rely on this show to make money. It was already good enough that he did not empty his savings and was in debt. As for Rui, in the eyes of many people, it was indeed bigger than Dongqing and could be regarded as an established entertainment company. At first, the crowd was still waiting excitedly. They wanted to see a life-and-death battle between the two companies. But it didn't take long for them to realize that they were still too naive. After waiting and waiting, the two companies did not openly fight and both sides suffered losses. Instead, they waited for the senior executives of Rui to commit tax evasion, forcing the company's artists to accept the unspoken rules, and even causing a shocking scandal that killed people. Overnight, almost all the senior executives of Rui were arrested. Without a leader and a lost reputation, Rui easily changed owners. This swift and decisive fall from power left the onlookers dumbfounded, but they also exclaimed in satisfaction. Some people who were hiding after this incident were not as miserable as Rui, but they also learned some lessons. Ah! Mrs. Hu stood in front of the emergency room door, anxiously pacing around. From time to time, she would let out a low cry and murmur that she could not suppress. How could this be? How could this be? Hua Qihan, who heard the news, came with a dark face. When he saw her like this, he frowned. What the hell is going on? My company has a contract to sign in a while. Mrs. Huo was anxious, and when she heard his words, she instantly became angry. Contract, contract, contract. You only think about the contract. Xiaofeng has an accident, and you still think about the contract. If it had been in the past, when he heard that his only son had an accident, Wu Qihan might have been nervous, but now he was unexpectedly indifferent and even a little impatient. If I don't sign the contract and don't work, what will you eat? You eat my food and live in my house, and you complain about me. Who gave you the face? Mrs. Huo was speechless by her husband's unceremonious rebuke. It took a while for her to react, and she trembled slightly with anger. What do you mean? Despise me? Back then, you were the one who didn't let me go out to work. You said that women should stay at home to take care of their husbands and children. You said that you would take good care of us. It's only been a few years. Have you forgotten? Enough. Wu Qihan impatiently interrupted Mrs. Huo's words. He did not cherish her as much as he did when they were husband and wife. He only felt that she was annoyed because she was moaning for no reason. I don't want to argue with you. Did you call me just to argue with me? What happened to Xiaofeng? If you don't tell me, I'm leaving. Mrs. Huo was trembling with anger. She thought of her son, who was still in the emergency room. She took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in her heart. She said coldly, I don't know. I just received a call saying that Xiaofeng was beaten up in a bar and is still in the emergency room. Wu Qihan clicked his tongue and complained in a low voice, You're already an adult, yet you're still doing nothing and causing trouble everywhere. Mrs. Huo widened her eyes in disbelief. It was as if she could not believe that these words came from her husband. In the past, even if Wu Xiaofeng had taken the initiative to cause trouble, he would protect him. Now, it was obvious that his son had been beaten up and was in the emergency room. It was someone else's fault. How could he blame him for causing trouble? Chapter 464. Mrs. Huo's face was so gloomy that it looked like it was about to rain. Just then, the door of the emergency room opened and Wu Xiaofeng was wheeled out. Xiaofeng, Xiaofeng. Mrs. Huo couldn't care about anything else and hurriedly wanted to chase after him. However, she saw that the doctor who had treated Wu Xiaofeng had also followed him out. She hurriedly grabbed the doctor and asked, Doctor, how is our Xiaofeng? The doctor glanced at her and said truthfully, although the patient's hand has been reattached, it took too long. We can't guarantee that his hand will be able to carry heavy things like before. The implication was that although Wu Xiaofeng's hand had been reattached, the injury was more serious. He was afraid that he would only be able to do light work in the future. As a man, he might not even be able to carry his wife and child. His condition was not far from Wu Chenhuan's. Mrs. Huo's legs went weak on the spot. By the time she recovered from this serious news, the doctor had already left. Wu Qihan also heard the doctor's words. He frowned slightly but didn't show much emotion. Just then, his cell phone rang. Wu Qihan glanced at the display and turned to leave to answer the call outside. Mrs. Huo saw that he was about to leave and her heart sank. She almost screamed, Our son is already like this. Where are you going? You haven't been home all day these days. What have you been doing? Are you really so busy with work? Wu Qihan stopped in his tracks when he heard this. He turned his head and glared at his wife fiercely. He gritted his teeth and said, I'm not a doctor. What's the use of staying here? After saying that, he turned around and left quickly without waiting for Mrs. Huo's reaction. Mrs. Huo's heart sank. She looked at her husband's back and cried bitterly. After crying, she rushed to her son's room in a daze and found that Wu Xiaofeng had already woken up. Xiaofeng, you're awake. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Does your hand hurt? Hand. When Wu Xiaofeng heard her words, it was as if he had just woken up from a dream. He subconsciously tried to lift his hand, but found that his hand could not move at all. Recalling what had happened in the bar, Hu Xiaofeng's expression changed drastically. His face was filled with horror. My hand, why can't I move my hand? Mrs. Hu was shocked. She rushed forward to stop him and said with concern, your hand is fine. Don't worry. You've just had surgery, don't move around. Mrs. Hu's words made Hu Qinhuan calm down a little. With reddened eyes, she confirmed, are you really okay? Mrs. Hu pursed her lips. She was both heartbroken and angry. Her son should have been a carefree young master. Why did he become like this? Hu Xiaofeng did not wait for Mrs. Hu's answer. He panicked even more and said anxiously, Mom, tell me honestly. My hand. What happened to my hand? Xiaofeng, don't be too agitated. Your hand is fine, but... Mrs. Hu looked deeply at her son and choked with sobs. The doctor said that if you drag it on for too long, it might not be able to fully recover. You won't be able to lift heavy things in the future. Hu Xiaofeng's face turned pale. As if he had been struck by lightning, he collapsed on the hospital bed. Mrs. Hu cried even harder. Don't worry. That's just what the doctor said. Other doctors might have a way. There are so many amazing doctors in the world. Will someone be able to cure your hand? Even if they can't cure it, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do any heavy work anyway. It won't affect your hand. Chapter 465. Hu Xiaofeng listened to his mother's weeping for a long time with a cold face. Suddenly, his face turned ferocious, and he kicked the bed. It's him, it must be him. I'm going to kill him. Hu Xiaofeng's sudden outburst frightened Mrs. Hu. She looked at all of this in a daze, not knowing how to react. Until Hu Xiaofeng grabbed her hand and said crazily, Mom, it must be Hu Qinhuan, it must be him. That cripple, he's the one who made me like this, it must be him. How do you know it's him? Why would he do that to you? Mrs. Hu seemed to wake up from a dream. Then, she seemed to think of something and said in a panic, Did you do something? Tell Mom, did you do something again? Hu Qinhuan had indeed had a few conflicts with them recently, but it was almost always her son who provoked them first. It was precisely because she knew this that Mrs. Hu asked this question. Hu Xiaofeng's face darkened, and his voice rose a few octaves. I didn't do anything. He's a cripple, and he's jealous of me because I'm still healthy. That's why he wants to harm me and turn me into a cripple like him. Yes, that must be it. Hu Xiaofeng's voice was quite loud, but his eyes unconsciously wandered. Mrs. Hu knew her son well, and she could tell at a glance that he wasn't telling the truth. She said resentfully, if he was really jealous of you, he would have done it long ago. He wouldn't have waited until now. Xiaofeng, tell Mom the truth, what's going on? What did you do? Are you still trying to hide it from Mom at this time? Hu Xiaofeng choked, and after a while, he said reluctantly, I heard that someone wanted to mess with Su Yiyan and wanted to fake news of her having an affair, so I asked someone to add fuel to the fire. I revealed that the cripple is my uncle, and he's a cripple at that, and confirmed her motive for having an affair. Mrs. Hu's face tightened, and she didn't believe him. That's all. That's all. Hu Xiaofeng's face was deathly pale. After this matter was leaked, many people cursed Su Yiyan. They even mocked that cripple for being old, ugly, and crippled. Maybe because of this, he suddenly tried to harm me. No, it's not a possibility. It's definitely him. There's no one else other than him. Mrs. Hu still couldn't believe that Hu Qinhuan would cripple her son's hand just because of this. However, she couldn't think of anyone else in such a short time. Filled with righteous indignation, she said, just because someone said a few bad things about him, he got so angry and even got someone to hurt you. What's more, what you told your men to leak out was the truth. He's a cripple, so why would he be afraid of others talking about him? We can't just let it go like this. We have to make him compensate you. We have to make him compensate you. No matter how much you compensate me, my hand can't be healed. Hu Xiaofeng's eyes were sinister, revealing a hint of resentment. But you're right, Mom. We can't just let this go. Where's Dad? Did you tell Dad about what happened to me? Mrs. Hua's expression suddenly froze. She lowered her head and said, No, your dad had to sign an important contract this morning. His phone was turned off, so I couldn't get in touch with him. Hu Xiaofeng didn't suspect anything. Then I'll tell him when he's done. By the way, where's little Ping? Mom, did you see her when you came over? Little Ping. You mean Wen Jingping? Did you go to the bar with her? Mrs. Wen's expression changed again when she heard Hu Xiaofeng's words. She looked at her son with a hint of dissatisfaction. Didn't I tell you to stay away from that little b*tch? Why are you hanging out with her again? Will you die if you leave her? She must have cast a spell on you. Chapter 466. Hu Xiaofeng felt embarrassed to be scolded by her, but he still asked patiently, You really didn't see anyone? No. Mrs. Hu said angrily, I rushed over as soon as I received the call, but I didn't see anyone. I'm the only one here. Hu Xiaofeng's face turned green and white. In the end, he kicked the railing next to the bed. Damn it, bitch. He went to the bar today because a few of his friends suddenly called him and asked him to bring his girlfriend over for a gathering. Hu Xiaofeng was in a bad mood because of the company's problems, so he didn't want to go. Wen Jingping advised him to go out more if he was in a bad mood. She had been with him for so long, but she had never met his friends. Did he not want to introduce her to his friends? Hu Xiaofeng was persuaded by her, so he took her there. As a result, when he got there, he happened to bump into some people gambling in the bar. Moreover, the person in the lead was a sworn enemy of his who had a falling out with him before. With Wen Jingping next to him, Hu Xiaofeng, who loved to save face, took the bait almost immediately. Now that he thought about it, Hu Xiaofeng realized that the other party had come prepared and deliberately set a trap for him. He was really stupid to fall for it. No matter what, Hu Xiaofeng made a bet with the other party. Hu Xiaofeng lost, but the other party didn't ask for money. They only broke his hand and even cut his tendons. What disappointed him the most was that when all this happened, he was full of hope that Wen Jingping would save him like Su Yiyan did when he fell into the water on the night of Hu Qinhuan and Su Yiyan's wedding. However, Wen Jingping didn't live up to his expectations. Not only did she not help him, but she even secretly hid aside when the group of people held him down, afraid that she would be implicated. Before this, Hu Xiaofeng still had a faint hope in his heart. He hoped that Wen Jingping's retreat was to protect herself, so that she could send him to the hospital immediately after he got into trouble. But the truth was, she didn't. In order not to be implicated, she decisively abandoned herself. This was the woman that he had chosen himself. In order to be with her, he did not hesitate to become enemies with the Su family. Hu Xiaofeng's eyes were bloodshot. At this moment, he even hated Wen Jingping. Congratulations, host, snatching the female protagonist's golden finger progress plus 15. Current progress is 45%. You are only 5% away from the progress bar of snatching the male protagonist's golden finger. Please continue to work hard. Su Yiyan was a little confused when he heard the system notification. Why did it suddenly increase by 15? Did something happen on Wen Jingping's side again? After testing, the relationship between the male and female leads has collapsed on a large scale, causing the influence of the female lead's Goldfinger to be reduced to a certain extent. Su Yiyan was stunned. Didn't these two always claim to be true love? How could it collapse just like that? So casual. What happened? Why did the two of them fall out just like that? This afternoon, the male lead was provoked when he brought the female lead to a bar. He lost a bet and injured his hand and was hospitalized. The female lead left him in the lurch and fled after the incident, causing the relationship between the two to fall apart. Su Yiyan blinked. He almost thought that he was hallucinating because he was too tired. This doesn't make sense. Didn't Wen Jingping claim to be deeply in love with Wu Xiaofeng? Didn't she say that when her aunt kicked Wu Xiaofeng into the water, she did everything she could to save Wu Xiaofeng and almost drowned in the end? Why did she suddenly leave him in the lurch? That was then and this is now. Please make your own judgment regarding the specific reasons. Su Yiyan. If I knew, would I still need to ask you? What use do I have for you? Chapter 467. However, the phrase, that was then and this is now, seemed to have a deeper meaning. The biggest difference between then and now was Hu Xiaofeng's status. At that time, Hu Xiaofeng was still the popular heir of the Hu family. Now, he was just an abandoned pawn. Just because of this, Wen Jingping kicked him out. If that was the case, then the so-called true love between the two of them was not the usual kind of irony. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed with a trace of mockery. Then, as if thinking of something, she frowned and said, "What's up with the male lead's cheat? Is it to let Chenhuan snatch Wu Xiaofeng's cheat? Then why didn't it open in the beginning?" Now that Hu Xiaofeng had been kicked out of the Hu family and lost his status as the heir, what else was there to snatch? The progress bar of the male lead's cheat will open when the progress bar of the female lead's cheat is halfway through. The details will be explained when the time comes. Su Yiyan. In other words, I asked a few questions, but you didn't answer any of them. What's the use of having you? As if sensing Su Yiyan's disdain, the system replied with some emotion, which was rare for it. Humph. Su Yiyan. Why did she feel that the system's style was a little off? No, it didn't seem to have been like this recently. It was only after Yuan came to this house that the system's style began to change. It became more human. Thinking of this, Su Yiyan could not help but smile. Perhaps, at first, she did not like this uninvited guest who had taken the initiative to enter her brain. However, after so many things, she realized that the system had indeed been helping her all this time. It could even be said that it had not only helped her. Its existence had allowed her uncle and aunt to have a baby that they had been longing for. It had prevented Ning Chirue from dying of a serious illness. The Ning and Qi families had also prevented their families from being wiped out because of his death. It had also allowed Hu Chenhuan to be reborn. Other than that, there were many more. Because of it, many people were saved from being persecuted by the plot. It was also because of it that she could start over again and change the fate of herself and the people around her. Su Yiyan's eyes flickered as she said sincerely, "Thank you." She was met with a long silence. After about 5 minutes, a mechanical voice sounded in her head. "Congratulations to the host for obtaining plus 10 favorable impression points." It was a dry sentence. It was different from the previous increase in favorability, which was followed by a long string of words of encouragement. No matter how one looked at it, this favorability notification sounded a little shabby. Su Yiyan quickly understood who gave him these 10 favorable impression points and laughed softly. Who would have thought that the system, which had always been so strict, was actually such a tsundra on the inside? The system. You're the tsundra, your whole family is tsundra. As if it had sensed Su Yiyan's emotions, a series of strange electric current crackled before it returned to normal. The system silently disappeared, and Su Yiyan did not continue to tease it. At this time, Ling Xiaoqi, who had just returned from a trip during the holidays and had seen all the bad news on the internet, anxiously called her. Yan Yan, are you okay? What's going on with the messy news on the internet? Are you and that person of yours okay? Su Yiyan knew what she was worried about. She smiled slightly and said, "What can happen to me? They're the ones who are in trouble. Didn't you see the investigation list on our company's official account? Little people, who dare to provoke me, don't even think about running away." Chapter 468. Ling Xiaoqi was embarrassed. She thought to herself, "I called you because I saw the long list of names. I was worried that you would hurt your health. Are you really okay? I think they attacked your husband. Your husband isn't angry because of this, right? You too, don't hurt your health. At most, we'll ask them to pay for it." Ling Xiaoqi knew how much Su Yiyan loved her husband. As an outsider, she was angry when she saw the comments on the internet, let alone Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan snorted and said with some pride, "How can I be appeased just by asking them to pay for it? My husband wants to help me destroy the company and buy it back to be my toy. If they dare to provoke me, I'll go over and be their boss. I'll make them serve me tea and please me. Let's see who dares to talk nonsense in the future." Ling Xiaoqi was speechless. "Good, you guys know how to play. As a single dog, it's my fault to feel sorry for newlyweds like you. Okay, don't show off in front of me. As a poor working dog, I can't afford to eat royal dog food like you guys." Su Yiyan listened to her grief and anger and chuckled. "Are you jealous? If you're jealous, then find one quickly. My brother is also single. How about? Don't give me random matchmaking. If you push me too hard, I'll bite you with hua hua." Su Yiyan pursed her lips. A dog biting Lu Dongbin. You don't know how to appreciate kindness. Okay. I know you're doing this for my own good. Let's not talk about this anymore. I have a question for you." "What question?" Ling Xiaoqi coughed softly and was a little embarrassed. "You've been married for a while. Have you done it?" Su Yiyan was stunned. She looked at the screen again and confirmed that the person who asked this question was Ling Xiaoqi. "Why are you asking this?" I just want to ask you if your married life is harmonious. If it's not harmonious, I have some videos here. Do you want to watch and learn?" Although Ling Xiaoqi knew that most of the vicious words on the internet were false, the discussions made her realize that her good friend was not married to an ordinary person. Hua Qinhuan's legs were disabled, so her movements were definitely limited. It was inevitable that the husband and wife would not get along well in certain aspects. At this time, Su Yiyan had to put in a lot of effort. It wasn't that Ling Xiaoqi didn't believe in their feelings for each other. It was just that for most couples, this was a plus. What if the two of them didn't get along well and had a conflict? What if one of them took things too hard and went out to find someone else? Their relationship would be ruined. Ling Xiaoqi was an imaginative person. She was worried sick about her best friend, so she mustered up the courage to give her personal collection to Su Yiyan. When Su Yiyan heard her words, she was stunned for a few seconds. These few seconds were the time when her worldview was shattered and rebuilt. "You're a single dog who doesn't even have a boyfriend. How could you have such a thing?" Ling Xiaoqi was stunned by the roar. When she came back to her senses, she was angry and amused. "Who's a single dog who can't watch such things? You're discriminating. Discriminating my ass. Gosh, I need to calm down." Su Yiyan took a deep breath. "I didn't expect it. You usually look so serious, but in private, you're actually such a person. I've really misjudged you. It's not too late to find out now. Do you want it? If not, forget it. If not for the fact that you're my best friend, I wouldn't be willing to take it out. Ling Xiaoqi was about to hang up. Chapter 469. Wait. Su Yiyan sensed her intentions and exclaimed, "Let's talk nicely. Don't hang up just yet." Pfft. Ling Xiaoqi could hear the urgency in Su Yiyan's voice. She couldn't help but laugh, but she quickly restrained herself. "Since you want to talk nicely, tell me honestly. Have you guys?" Su Yiyan was speechless. She seriously suspected that a certain someone didn't ask this question for her sake, but to satisfy a certain someone's own curiosity. "Why aren't you answering? Don't tell me, you haven't." Ling Xiaoqi thought that Su Yiyan would respond with silence like before. Unexpectedly, she heard Su Yiyan reply in the next second. "Yeah. Really?" Ling Xiaoqi gasped. "You haven't done it even once in such a long time. Don't tell me you guys." "Stop. There's nothing wrong with us. He's receiving treatment recently, so it's not suitable for him to do such things to distract himself." "Treatment? What treatment?" Ling Xiaoqi quickly reacted after asking the question. "Leg? Your husband is receiving treatment for his leg. Can his leg really be cured?" "Yeah, he's already doing rehabilitation." Su Yiyan trusted Ling Xiaoqi, so she didn't hesitate to tell her the truth. "That's great!" Ling Xiaoqi exclaimed. When she first met Hu Chenhuan, she thought that he was good at everything. He was handsome, rich, and doted on Su Yiyan. The only regret was that his leg was crippled. Now that she knew that his leg could be cured, Ling Xiaoqi was truly happy for Su Yiyan. She wanted to see how those keyboard warriors with cheap mouths would use this to attack them in the future. A bunch of sour chickens. When Su Yiyan heard Ling Xiaoqi's words, the corners of her mouth unconsciously curled up. The next second, he heard Ling Xiaoqi ask in a low voice with a faint smile, "Since he's almost recovered, then what I said just now, send them all to me, not a single one less. If I find out that you've been hiding them, I'll give you a couple score tomorrow." Ling Xiaoqi. Oh, look at how anxious he is. He even had the nerve to criticize me just now. Shameless. Although she complained, Ling Xiaoqi still sent the item to Su Yiyan. After Su Yiyan received the file, he immediately saw the long list of file names. 360-degree spiral circle thunderbolt invincible private collection, death to peepers. Su Yiyan was speechless. There were so many scenes in a folder. Were they afraid that others wouldn't know that there was something not suitable for children inside? "That's enough," Su Yiyan complained as she opened the folder. Then, she tried to open the first video. What came into view was an abnormal scene that required the entire screen to be pixelated, as well as an inexplicably loud and somewhat frightening scream. Su Yiyan was dumbfounded on the spot. It took him a long time to react and turn off the video. Gotcha! The bedroom door was open from the outside. Su Yiyan felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He stood up immediately and tried to turn off the video in a flurry. However, the more nervous he became, the more flustered he became. Fortunately, he managed to turn off the video before the people outside came in. Hu Chenhuan opened the door and looked around. Then, she glanced at Su Yiyan and said doubtfully, "I think I heard something strange just now." "No, there was nothing at all," Su Yiyan said righteously, but it made people even more suspicious. Hu Chenhuan looked at her suspiciously. Su Yiyan felt inexplicably guilty. He lowered his head slightly and said, "I accidentally clicked on a spam page just now." The sound was a little loud. It's not a big deal, ha ha ha. Chapter 470. Hua Qinhuan looked at her deeply and suddenly understood something. He said in a low voice, "Yes." Su Yiyan's face was so hot that it could fry an egg. She took the initiative to change the topic. "Are you here to play games with me?" "I'm ready. Let's go." "Okay." Hua Qinhuan was pushed into the study by her. His eyes were full of smiles. In the middle of the large study, there were 2 game cabins sent by Gu Xiaoyang. The game cabins were tightly closed and could only be opened by the owner after his identity was verified. They looked like containers and escape cabins, but Su Yiyan didn't like the dark color. She always felt that they were not game cabins, but 2 small coffins. Su Yiyan was a little unhappy when she thought that she and Hua Qinhuan would have to sleep in these 2 coffins. No, in the game cabins to log into the game. Even if she really had to sleep in coffins, she would sleep in the same coffin as Hua Qinhuan after she died. How could there be 2 of them? Hua Qinhuan didn't know that his little wife was staring at the 2 game cabins and thinking about their lives 100 years later. Seeing that she stood beside the game cabins for a long time without any reaction, he thought that she was worried about the dangers of these things. These game cabins were tested repeatedly before they were sent here. They are absolutely safe. Don't be afraid. Su Yiyan was stunned. She knew that he misunderstood, but she didn't explain. She nodded with a faint smile. After the identity verification, the game cabins automatically opened. There was a long side passage on the right side, which didn't take up much space. It was used to prevent players from being hungry after playing for too long. The principle was actually the same as giving nutrition infusions to patients who couldn't swallow. Su Yiyan and Gu Xiaoyang didn't plan to stay in there for a whole day, so they didn't inject any nutrition infusions. Su Yiyan lay in the game cabin with a feeling of exploring the unknown. She was excited but also nervous. "Are you nervous?" Hua Qinhuan's voice came from the side. "A little." "Don't be afraid, I'll be with you," Hua Qinhuan said as she reached out to Su Yiyan. Their gaming cabins were placed side by side, so they could touch each other as long as they stretched out their hands. "See you inside. See you inside." The 2 of them looked at each other and smiled. The moment they retracted their hands, the gaming capsule also closed. After a moment of darkness, a mechanical voice said, "Welcome to Illusory Feast. Please enter your game name." "Game name?" Su Yiyan pondered for a moment, then blushed and said, "Little Yan Yan of the Huan Huan family. Player's game name is Huan Huan's Little Yan Yan." "Confirm." "Yes." As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yiyan heard a ding. "Your game name has been confirmed. Have a good time." Following that, there was a sense of weightlessness, followed by a burst of pleasant music in his ears, and his vision suddenly became a little dazzling. Su Yiyan subconsciously used her hand to block the light. When the light dissipated, the scene in front of her had completely changed. The sky was even more blue than in reality. There were no tall buildings or cement cars. Instead, it was replaced by green mountains and clear water. The grass was long and the birds were flying. The sound of flowing water was mixed with the chirping of birds and cicadas from time to time. A gentle breeze blew, rustling the leaves on the branches and bending the grass in the forest. Standing by the stream, Su Yiyan seemed to be able to faintly smell the fragrance of the grass brought by the wind and the faint water vapor of the stream. Subconsciously taking a deep breath, Su Yiyan said with surprise and disappointment, "It's actually the same as in reality." "No, it's even more beautiful than in reality." Chapter 471. This was a paradise that had never been cultivated before. There were flowers, grass, trees, streams, animals, and plants. The only thing that seemed to be lacking was popularity, and this problem would be perfectly solved when the game officially opened in a few days. Su Yian looked at her reflection in the sparkling water of the stream. Her face was no different from reality, but the makeup on her face was provided by the system. She wore a delicate pink gauze dress, and her shoulder-length hair was tied into a simple bun with 2 hairpins. Although it was simple, it was very delicate. What made Su Yiyan most satisfied was that the female character in this game was not as revealing as the other game characters she had seen before. It was still acceptable. Ah, right, where's Chenhuan? Su Yiyan remembered that she had lost her husband. She recalled Hu Chenhuan's instructions before entering the game cabin. Don't panic when you enter the game. If we don't land in the same place, open the server list, or stay where you are and wait for me to find you. Su Yiyan searched for a while before she found the server list. She clicked on it and understood why Hu Chenhuan would be able to find her as long as she could find this. At that time, there were only 2 people in the game. One was herself, and the other was not using it. Of course, it was Hu Chenhuan. It was just that, Yin Yan's Huan. Su Yiyan read this name and could not help but laugh out loud. Her heart was as sweet as honey. They had clearly not agreed beforehand, but they had tacitly used a couple's name. Before Su Yiyan could take the initiative to contact the other party, Hu Chenhuan had already sent a message. Wait for me where you are. I'll come and find you. Su Yiyan did not know how he would find her, but she still chose to trust Hu Chenhuan unconditionally. She replied with an okay. Hu Chenhuan did not make her wait for long. After about 5 minutes, Su Yiyan heard a familiar voice behind her. Yen Yen. Su Yiyan subconsciously turned his head, but when he saw who it was, he froze in place. The person was dressed in a light blue brocade robe. His long hair, which was different from the real world, was tied up with a silver crown. He looked more scholarly than in the real world, familiar yet unfamiliar. However, the biggest difference between the person in front of him and the outside world was that he was standing in front of him with his legs upright. Yen Yen. You. Su Yiyan took a few steps forward, but she was a little uncertain. As if seeing her hesitation, Hu Chenhuan's eyes flickered. She smiled and said, Here, I am complete. That's right, he was complete here. Even if he hadn't been healed in the outside world, in this virtual holographic world, he was complete. He wasn't injured, he wasn't disabled, he was a complete person. Su Yiyan's eyes were slightly sore, and a bold guess suddenly appeared in her mind. Maybe after Hu Chenhuan's accident, he brought Zui Yan Bai and the others to establish such a company, dedicated to the development of various virtual products, all for this moment. In a sense, to make him a complete person again, without the slightest flaw. Su Yiyan's eyes were red. She quickly stepped forward and threw herself into the other's arms. She wanted to say something, but her tears fell first. Seeing this, Hu Chenhuan hugged her even tighter. He closed his eyes, and a rare look of satisfaction appeared on his face. Chapter 472. The 2 of them stood in that position for a while. Su Yiyan gradually calmed down, but her tears still flowed out uncontrollably. Hu Chenhuan's heart ached for her. She lifted her hand to wipe her tears while comforting her. All right. Don't cry. You won't look good if you keep crying. Su Yiyan hiccuped as she asked, If I cry in here, will it affect the outside world? Hu Chenhuan laughed. She was still worried about whether crying in here would affect the outside world. No. Everything that happens in the game, including the damage you receive, will not affect the outside world. Hu Chenhuan explained as she taught Su Yiyan step by step. The pain in the game can also be adjusted. It depends on your needs. Su Yiyan decisively adjusted her pain to 0. What's next? How do we play this game? First, choose a home. Through this home, you can choose the missions you need to complete in the future. Home. Yes. Hua Qinhuan held Su Yiyan's hand and tapped on the bottom right corner. Soon, an icon of a small house appeared. With a light tap, several holographic images of houses appeared. There was a small farmyard, a small European-style villa, a quaint courtyard house. There was a wide variety of houses. Su Yiyan's mouth instantly formed an O shape. Isn't this too human-like? Choose one that you like. Hua Qinhuan seemed to have thought of something after saying that. She smiled faintly and said, if you like all of them, you can change your choice. How do I change my choice? After choosing a home, you have to complete missions to enrich your home. Different homes have different missions. If you're tired of living in your home, or if you're tired of doing missions, you can also spend money to change your home. Then, after changing your home, will the things that you bought in this home still be there? Some can be kept, and some can't. Which ones can't? Those that are dropped after completing missions will disappear. Those that are bought with money won't. Su Yiyan instantly understood. Although they could change their home, those that they spent money on could be taken away. Those that they did not spend money on would disappear. To put it bluntly, they still had to choose carefully. It was one thing to lose if they changed. If they really wanted to decorate this house by playing games and doing quests together, every blade of grass, tree, brick, and tile in the future would be filled with their memories. At that time, even if she was asked to change, she would not be willing to do so. Then let's choose a farmhouse with a yard. We can plant trees and flowers in the yard. When the time comes, we can even raise 1 or 2 little cuties like Dun Dun. Yes. After Su Yiyan got the confirmation, she immediately selected the farmhouse and clicked on it. In an instant, a 2-story farmhouse appeared before the two of them. Su Yiyan pulled Hua Qinhuan and was about to walk inside, but was stopped by Hua Qinhuan. This is your home. I can't go in. Su Yiyan was dumbfounded. Then what should we do? Just invite me. Invitation. Yes, you invited me to live in your house. Hua Qinhuan's words carried a hint of ridicule. Su Yiyan understood what he was implying, and her face immediately turned red. Okay, I'll invite you to live in my house. Just as she finished speaking, the AI system automatically popped up a certificate according to her words, informing Hua Qinhuan that the owner of the house had agreed to let him in. Let's go. Okay. Su Yiyan followed him and took 2 steps forward. Then, as if she had thought of something, she suddenly stopped. Wait. What's? Hua Qinhuan turned to look at her. Before he could ask, Su Yiyan hugged him. Moreover, they were entangled in the octopus position. Hua Qinhuan. Chapter 473. Su Yiyan, on the other hand, was quite satisfied with this position. She giggled and explained, I've thought about this a long time ago. Once you've recovered and come to the company to pick me up, I'll rush out from the company to welcome you. I'll hang on you like this so that you won't be able to tear me off. This idea could only be realized when Hua Qinhuan stood up. Otherwise, he would be sitting in a wheelchair. Even if she wanted to hang on him, she would have to sit on his lap. There was no beauty to it. No, it would even add to his burden. Although it would add to his burden, it was definitely a sweet burden. Hua Qinhuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing her explanation. However, he was happy to fulfill her wish. He gently supported her back but so that she could hang on him better. It was a farmhouse's courtyard. The courtyard was actually quite big, but it was currently bare. Other than a planned flower bed, there were no cherry blossoms inside. It was the same inside the house. It was a 2-story house with a living room, bedroom, and kitchen. However, the matching furniture could only be obtained by completing missions. The two walked around upstairs and downstairs and found 2 chairs, a table, and a simple wooden bed. Su Yiyen. Isn't this too shabby? With that thought, Su Yiyen's gaze subconsciously drifted to the bed. This game was quite realistic in all aspects. If they were to roll around in bed in this game, wouldn't it be? As soon as this thought appeared, Su Yiyen couldn't help but shudder. No, this was a proper game. How could they use it to do that kind of thing? If someone found out, wouldn't the entire game be censored? It was all Ling Xiaoqi's fault. Why did she send her that kind of thing? Now, her mind was filled with that kind of thing. Ling Xiaoqi, who silently took the blame. Who was she doing this for? Yen. Su Yiyen, who was blushing from her own imagination, suddenly heard Hu Qinhuan's voice. She jumped in fright as if she had a guilty conscience. What's wrong? Do you want to do a mission? Mission? Su Yiyen reacted quickly and shook his head. I won't do the mission today. I want to stay here with you for a while. Is that okay? It wasn't easy for them to come to a place where no one would disturb them. It was a world that belonged solely to the two of them. Moreover, in this world of the two of them, Hu Qinhuan's legs were still intact. She could walk freely without the help of any external force. Su Yiyen didn't want to go anywhere. She just wanted to stay in their home and be alone with Hu Qinhuan. Hu Qinhuan seemed to have seen through her thoughts. His eyes deepened as he held her hand tightly. They sat on the somewhat simple bed and looked out the window. This bedroom was on the 2nd floor of the attic, facing the front yard. Looking down from the window, one could see the separated flower beds below. After we finish the mission, let's buy some seeds first. I want to plant vegetables in the ground. Planting vegetables? Hu Qinhuan was a little surprised. Aren't you planting flowers? I already have a courtyard full of flowers that you gave me. There's no need to plant any more. I want to plant some canola here, some lettuce there, and some radish there. When they're ripe, we can use them for hot pot. When the time comes, we'll build a shed next to it and raise some chickens, ducks, and sheep. Every time we harvest the vegetables, we'll raise some chickens. Chapter 474. Su Yiyen pointed at the small courtyard below and excitedly talked about her plans for the future. Her eyes were filled with anticipation and yearning for the future. This plan included her, him, and a home that belonged to them. Hu Qinhuan looked at the side of her face and felt that her entire body was glowing, and this glow belonged to him. Su Yiyen spoke for a long time and realized that the person beside her did not react at all. She stopped talking and turned to look at him in confusion. Are you listening? Before she could finish speaking, Hu Qinhuan kissed her. Su Yiyen's eyes narrowed, but she quickly relaxed and took the initiative to hug Hu Qinhuan's waist. She propped up a small pole and opened the window slightly. A ray of sunlight slipped into the room and sprinkled on the two people who were hugging each other. It was as if a layer of dense light had covered them, harmonious and warm. The next morning, Su Yiyen woke up early. She glanced at Hu Qinhuan, who was still sleeping next to her, and laughed foolishly. Although they did not do any missions last night, they still stayed in the game for a few hours. They only came out of the game late at night. As for what the two of them did in those few hours, naturally, everything was ready. They were only one step away. Su Yiyen guessed that the person beside her probably wanted their first time to be in real life, so they stopped at the last minute. Although it was a little regretful, Su Yiyen was still very happy to see Hu Qinhuan stand up and spend so much time with him in the game. Su Yan giggled and leaned over to steal a kiss on Hu Chenhuan's lips. She quickly got up from the bed and prepared to cook a delicious meal to reward herself and share her joy with the others. However, she did not expect that the second she left the bedroom, the person who was originally lying on the bed slowly opened his eyes. Looking at the door that had just closed, she reached out and touched the place where she had been kissed. Her clear eyes didn't have the slightest bit of sleepiness and confusion from just waking up. "Young madam, why are you up so early today?" Uncle Zhang was surprised to see Su Yiyan coming down from upstairs. "I want to cook a few more dishes today, so I woke up earlier." "Are the chefs at home awake?" Su Yiyan was referring to a few chefs. Previously, they had restored the egg tarts and buns that she had made before. Moreover, they had restored the taste of the egg tarts and buns by 70 to 80%. Presumably, they were quite capable. "I'm up. I'm preparing breakfast for young master and young madam. I have a lot of things to do today. I'm afraid I won't be able to do it alone. Help me ask around and see if anyone is willing to help." Uncle Zhang's eyes lit up as he nodded with a smile. "All right, I'll go ask them now." Su Yiyan thought that it would be good enough if Uncle Zhang could call one over for her. Unexpectedly, other than a chef who was not feeling well and had asked for leave, the other chefs who were still at home all rushed over. When these chefs heard that the young madam wanted them to help cook, they rushed over without thinking. They were afraid that if they were a step late, Su Yiyan would have enough people on her side and not bring them along. There were a total of 3 chefs who came, 2 women and 1 man. They were all in their 30s or 40s. They looked at Su Yiyan with burning and bright eyes, as if they wanted to swallow her alive. Su Yiyan was scared by their gazes. She coughed lightly and said, "Uncle Zhang should have told you all, right? I have a lot of things to do today, so I want to ask for your help." Chapter 475. The 3 of them looked at each other and said uneasily, "Yes, but aren't you afraid that we'll steal what you've made?" Su Yiyan didn't answer directly. Instead, she smiled and asked them a question. "Have you watched my live stream?" "Yes." At first, they were curious and wanted to know what this new young master liked so that it would be easier for them to watch when they were cooking. They didn't expect to fall into a pit and couldn't climb out. They were embarrassed. They had watched Su Yiyan's live stream recordings, but some of the materials were only available in her shop, so they couldn't try to recreate it themselves. "Since I'm willing to live stream for strangers to watch, it means that I'm not afraid of people copying. I don't care how much you can learn from the live stream. If you learn anything, it's yours. In the same way, you guys can help me out later. Whatever you learn will be yours." The 3 of them were shocked. They couldn't believe that there was such a thing as a free lunch in this world. "If there aren't any other questions, let's start cooking. It's getting late. If we delay any longer, I'm afraid that breakfast will become lunch." Su Yiyan seemed to have thought of something. "I'll start a live stream in a bit. If you help, you'll probably be filmed. But don't worry, it won't show your faces. Do you mind?" The 3 of them seemed to wake up from a dream and hurriedly shook their heads. We don't mind. As long as they could watch from a close distance, so what if their faces were shown? Plus, they wouldn't show their faces. "Okay then. What are you good at?" "I'm good at cooking. I'm good at making soup and porridge. I'm good at making desserts." "Desserts?" Su Yiyan was suddenly interested. "You made those buns and egg tarts." The one who knew how to make desserts was a female chef. When she heard Su Yiyan's words, she froze and said embarrassedly, "Yes. The young master liked the egg tarts and buns that the young madam made before, so I asked Mr. Yu to ask you how to make them. I tried making them myself, but they didn't taste as good as the young madam's." Steamed Bun had learned from the live stream. When Su Yiyan made the egg tarts, she didn't live stream them. They really didn't know how to make them, so they could only try asking Yuzian for help. Originally, she didn't have much hope, but she didn't expect this young man to be so generous and send her a copy of the recipe. You're too modest. I've tasted your cooking and it's delicious. Since you know how to make desserts, it will be much easier. Today, we'll boil 2 soups and 2 porridge. After that, we'll make some pasta, and dumplings. Young madam, you can make the arrangements. We will listen to your orders. Let's do it. Su Yiyan swiftly assigned tasks to the few of them and opened the live broadcast room. The early bird gets the worm. The host is live streaming. Why did the streamers start a live broadcast at this time? Don't you usually broadcast at night? Su Yiyan looked at the comments that flashed through her live broadcast room from time to time. She did not expect that there would be so many people squatting in her live broadcast room on the morning of the holiday. I usually have to go to work, so I don't have much time in the morning. There isn't much I can do, so I usually broadcast at night. Today is the weekend, so I don't have to go to work. I wanted to make a few more desserts to try, so I woke up early. Why are you guys up so early? I thought there wouldn't be many people in the live broadcast room since it's so early. Chapter 476. As soon as Su Yiyan said that, the audience in the live stream room became complacent. Ha ha ha, I haven't gotten up yet. I'm lazing in bed. I originally planned to sleep until noon, but when I heard the live stream room's notification, I didn't know why I woke up immediately. I'm now watching the live stream in bed. For the sake of my hard work, the streamer must pick me today. The times are calling. The live stream is calling. How can I not come? It's obviously the food that's calling. I've seen through you long ago. Pfft. Every time Su Yiyan saw these cute internal arguments, she couldn't help but want to smile like an ant. I've made more things today, so there will be more things to participate in the lucky draw later. Everyone, remember to participate enthusiastically. As soon as Su Yiyan said that, the audience in the live stream room was very happy. I like it when the live stream host suddenly starts a live stream. It's early in the morning, so there won't be many people. Does this mean that my chances of winning the lucky draw can also be increased? What are you daydreaming about? Look at the number of people online in the live stream room. You want to take advantage of the opportunity to win early. No way. With this number of people, I can only say that the live stream and food have a great charm. In just a few minutes, the number of viewers in Su Yiyan's live stream room had soared to 7 digits. She directly occupied the throne of the real-time live stream host's popularity. The early risers who originally wanted to take advantage of the opportunity before most people reacted were heartbroken. They spontaneously began to fill the bullet screen with all kinds of heartbroken emojis. Then, another audience member seemed to have discovered something and asked mysteriously. The live stream host seems to be very happy today. Her voice is a little floaty. Did something good happen? Su Yiyan was stunned when she saw this message. Even though she knew that they couldn't see her, she subconsciously touched her face and said embarrassedly, "Is it that obvious?" "It's very obvious." Actually, I just thought about it. The live stream host's tone today is exceptionally gentle. Of course, I'm not saying that the live stream host is not usually kind, it's just sweet. This audience member's desire to live was quite high. The other audience members in the live stream room understood immediately when they heard the word sweet. I'm guessing that the live stream host's mood today has something to do with her husband. What are you guessing for? It must have something to do with my husband. According to my experience of watching the streamer's live broadcast for so long, 99% of the daily emotional changes of the streamer are related to the streamer's husband. What about the remaining 1%? Is it related to keyboard warriors and anti-fans? Nothing wrong with that. Why is the scene of a sunflower revolving around its sun automatically appearing in my mind when I hear the comment above? Wah wah, it's another day of crying over someone else's beautiful love. Su Yiyan looked at the screen that was filled with discussions. Inexplicably, she felt ashamed and annoyed that her thoughts had been exposed. She blushed slightly and said to the 3 kitchen helpers not far away, "The stewing time is longer. We'll stew the soup first. Come and help us." Su Yiyan waved at the female chef who was good at making soup and porridge. The female chef took a few steps forward and soon entered the scene. There seems to be someone else on the streamer's side. Who is it? It's the chefs at home. There are a lot of things to cook today, and the quantity is also large. I can't handle it alone, so I want to ask them to help me. Chapter 477. Am I the only one who noticed the streamer's several chefs? A few, not one, but a few. Wow, the streamer's family is really rich. She can actually afford to hire so many chefs. People like me who can't even afford to hire a single chef. No, I'm a poor person who can't even afford to eat in a high-class restaurant. I'm jealous when I look at other people's chefs. Of course, there were also some people who didn't quite understand. The streamer's cooking skills are so good. Why does she still need to hire chefs? Good cooking skills don't necessarily mean that she cooks all the time. If I had the streamer's family background and so much money, I would be too lazy to cook. Wouldn't it be better to eat ready-made food at home? This reason really made people unable to refute. Su Yiyan looked up and saw the screen full of people who were envious of her chef's sour lemons. She smiled and said, "Today, I'm going to make 2 types of chicken soup. One is suitable for girls who are physically weak, and the other is Codonopsis angelica chicken soup for middle-aged and elderly people. Shredded chicken is a good tonic in spring. Add Codonopsis angelica, red dates, and stew it together. In addition to nourishing blood and promoting blood circulation, it also has the effect of regulating menstruation and reducing excess." As Su Yiyan spoke, she cut half of the chicken into pieces and soaked them in water. Then, she put them together with other ingredients into the casserole to stew. Hua Chenhuan, who had just finished washing up and opened the live broadcast room, heard this sentence. Chicken soup for girls, middle-aged and elderly people. Excluding girls, only middle-aged and elderly people were left. Was his wife beating around the bush to think that he was old? Fortunately, in the next second, he heard Su Yiyan say, "The other type of chicken soup is yam stew chicken soup. Yam nourishes the kidney, and when paired with chicken and carrot stew, it's suitable for men to eat in spring. It also has an obvious effect on some men's symptoms of kidney deficiency and seminal emission." Hua Chenhuan. Kidney deficiency. Seminal emission. As soon as she finished speaking, many viewers in the live broadcast room looked at the 2 types of soup in a different way. The old viewers who had watched Su Yiyan's live broadcast and the customers who had eaten in her restaurant knew that the streamer didn't lie. If she was useful, then it must be useful. Help me watch the fire. I've already put in the carrots and chicken. When the water comes to a boil, simmer for 15 minutes. After that, add the yam and stew quickly. The female chef's eyes lit up. In order to make the soup taste good, the heat control was also a key factor. Although Su Yiyan would tell them how to cook it during the live broadcast, he did not go into detail about how to cook it and how long to cook it for. Other than wanting her to watch the fire, he was also trying to give her some pointers. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it. Since someone was watching over the soup, Su Yiyan called for the male chef who knew how to stir-fry ingredients. "Can you make pancakes?" "Pancakes?" Su Yiyan saw that he was a little confused, so he smiled faintly and said, "It doesn't matter if you don't know how. It's similar to cooking, and it's easy to operate. I'll give you a demonstration later. If it works, why don't you do it?" "All right." Su Yiyan was preparing to make fried shredded potato egg pancakes and scallion pancakes. The fried shredded potato egg pancakes were easy to make. Cut the potatoes into shreds and cut the bacon into pieces. Then, add flour, egg, chicken powder, and chopped green onions to form a paste. Place it in the pan and fry it until both sides were cooked. The reason why pancakes could become one of the most popular foods on the streets was because once it was cooked, the aroma would spread for 10 miles, making passers-by drool. Su Yiyan demonstrated to the male chef once, and the entire live broadcast room was enveloped in the smell of fried oil. Sheng. Chapter 478. Sob, 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 it's so early in the morning. It's simply torture for me to smell this kind of smell. Gugugu, gugugu, can you hear my stomach growling? I'm almost out of breath. Hurry up and bring the host's omelette to me. He, this omelette seems quite simple when the host makes it. I think I can give it a try. I've already placed an order for potato flour and eggs. Sisters, wait for my good news. Hands, no, you can't. Ha ha ha, I advise the person above not to be impulsive. Watching the host make things seem very simple, but that's just an illusion. When it's in your hands, it might not be so simple. For those who are itching to do it yourself, I advise you to look at the fish that died with their eyes wide open in the comment section. Deep. JPG, Su Yiyan had made fish several times before. Steaming, braising, boiling, and even making soup. It was precisely because the fish she fried was golden and crispy on the outside and tender on the inside that some viewers couldn't hold back their desire to eat after watching her cooking. They also bought fish and fried it themselves. As one could imagine, 99% of the people who bought it failed. The remaining 1% couldn't even protect their own kitchens. As a result, the comments section during that period could be seen from time to time with the horrifying scene of the fish that died with their eyes wide open. While the few of them were joking around, Su Yiyan had already finished making the first fried potato omelette. The thin potato shreds and bacon could be clearly seen on the round omelette. It looked especially crispy, and it was even more so when one bit into it. This taste is amazing. It's crispy and crispy. The more you eat it, the more addictive it is. Crunch crunch. Eating this is really addictive. I think I can eat a few pieces of this size by myself. Is it so delicious when the potato shreds, bacon, and eggs are mixed together? I think I can do it too. Calm down, calm down. The potato shreds are fine. Look at the official price of the bacon. You'll understand why the audience above only bought potatoes, eggs, and flour. These people, who drank light nutrient fluids all year round, didn't care about eating oily fried food for breakfast. They couldn't wait to eat the egg pancake to their heart's content. It would be even better if they could have some wine. Hua Qinwan looked at the messages that kept flashing across the screen. Suddenly, she felt a little hungry. Her eyebrows furrowed slightly and then relaxed. She turned her wheelchair and went downstairs. Is there anything you don't understand after reading it once? If not, you can try it yourself. It doesn't matter if you fry more. If you can't finish it, you can give it to others. Su Yiyan was busy checking on the male chef's learning progress when she suddenly heard a familiar low voice from outside. Yen yen. The string of comments that were originally really busy praising the egg pancake seemed to be stuck. It went blank for 2 seconds before it exploded like a blowout. Was that the voice of the host's husband? Oh, this is the subwoofer of my dreams. I love this voice. A sexy subwoofer with a clear and mature voice. The host and her husband's voices are my cup of tea. It's such a waste not to use them as voice actresses. The host's voice is so nice. Even her husband's voice is so nice. If there was a man who used this voice to say goodnight to me every night, I definitely wouldn't have insomnia anymore. Hey, I'm in the kitchen. Su Yiyen didn't care how infatuated this group of people were with her male voice. She responded and ran out. After running a few steps, she seemed to have thought of something. She hurriedly turned back and took the plate of freshly fried egg pancakes away. Chapter 479. Wait, she took it away. Hey. Streamer, where are you going? Leave the pancakes for us. Panicked Air Kong Hand. JPG, host, you can look for your husband, but don't take the pancakes with you, host. Sob. I only took 2 bites and was still savoring the aftertaste, but the pancake is gone in the blink of an eye. Give my pancakes back, give them back. It was impossible to give them back. The male chef, who was left behind to inspect the results, cut the shredded potatoes with an indifferent expression. From time to time, he would raise his head to look at the bullet screen that flashed past with disdain. How could the young madam return the pancakes that she gave to their young master? How naive. The audience cried for a while before they calmed down with the sound of the male chef cutting vegetables. They looked at the male chef who replaced Su Yiyen in the center position and were both amused and angry. Sob. Host, come back. We want a cute little sweetheart, not a big guy who picks his feet. The male chef. This personal attack was too much. He never picks his feet. This is a yen small kitchen. How can it be called a yen small kitchen without a yen? Report the host for skipping work during the live broadcast to date, and even let someone take her place. Doghead, host, come back. I can't bear it alone. Air Kong Hand. JPG, the male chef. Were all young people nowadays so good at acting? Su Yiyen, who was in a hurry to run out to see her husband, did not know that these audience members were good at acting. Even when she was not around, they could howl very sincerely. Holding the plate of freshly fried egg pancakes, Su Yiyen skipped over to Wu Chenhuan. Why are you up so early? I smelled the aroma of your cooking, so I got up. Su Yiyen blinked and was a little confused. Were the pancakes so fragrant? Could they float all the way from the first floor to their bedroom on the second floor? Fortunately, this question did not make her struggle for too long. Are you hungry? I just fried an egg pancake and it's still warm. Eat it while it's still hot. There will be other delicious food later. Okay. Wu Chenhuan took the plate. Su Yiyen remembered that the live broadcast was still going on, so she turned around to go back. Wait. Su Yiyen was stunned. What's wrong? She turned around and a piece of sliced egg pancake appeared in front of her. Have a piece first. Knowing that the man was worried about her cooking on an empty stomach, Su Yiyen opened her mouth and took a bite of the egg pancake. After chewing it, she didn't forget to express her thoughts. It's crispy and not salty at all. Take your time, I'll go back first. Yes. After watching Su Yiyen enter the small kitchen, Wu Chenhuan entered the live broadcast room unhurriedly. She picked up a piece of egg pancake and put it in her mouth. Looking at the screen full of mournful wails, he raised his eyebrows in a good mood. When Su Yiyen returned to the live broadcast room, it was inevitable that the screen was filled with questions that came directly from the soul. The host is back. Where's our pie? Where's the pancake? Where's the pancake? The host is back, but the pancake is gone. Crying, host, is the man who just spoke your husband? Did you give your pancake to him? Do you still need to ask? It must be. Host, do you still remember the Little Cuties by Daming Lake? You actually gave up on us little cuties and gave the egg pancake to a dog man outside. I can't accept this. That's not a dog man. That's the host's husband. Wah, I cried so loudly that it scared my mom. Su Yiyen. Chapter 480. Su Yiyen was shocked by the dramatic performance of the audience. She coughed lightly and explained, "It's my husband. I was afraid that he would get hungry early, so I sent some over first. Cold dog food slap in the face, sad person don't come back, there's something wrong with the person above." I almost sang it. Host, you only think about your husband being hungry, but don't you think about us being hungry too? I'm sad. I need a kiss and a hug from the host. Su Yiyen saw this comment and said without thinking, "Of course my husband is more important." Heartbroken. JPG, I can't kiss and hug you. My husband will be jealous. == I'm autistic. I'm not a fan for a minute. Su Yiyen touched her nose guiltily and pretended that nothing had happened. She said, "Okay, let's see how he's doing." At this time, the male chef had already made the egg paste according to Su Yiyen's previous method and was about to pour it into the pot. When he heard Su Yiyen's words, his hand trembled and he almost poured the bowl of egg paste into the pot. Lower the heat. You need to be patient when frying this. Lower the heat and take it slow. Otherwise, it will burn easily. It had to be said that those who were invited to be private chefs at home had some skills. When the egg pancake was done, only the edges were left. He didn't control the heat well, so a small piece was black. Everything else was fine. The male chef naturally noticed this and he looked a little embarrassed. Su Yiyen felt that he was already very good. She said affirmatively, "It's your first time making it like this. It's already very good. Keep up the good work." After saying that, she left him alone to slowly fumble around. She turned to the female chef who said that she made snacks before to make snacks. "First, let's knead some dough. The dough takes a long time to ferment, so we have to prepare all the dough that will be used today in advance." Su Yiyen took out all kinds of rice noodles as she spoke. "Today, we will make a total of 3 kinds of pastries. One is the flowering mantou, one is the mandarin duck dumplings, and the last one is the flour wonton. The dough for the flowering mantou needs to be fermented, so let's knead the dough first." The so-called blossoming mantou was nothing more than a combination of different flavors of dough stacked together, allowing a mantou to have several flavors. Then, a little trick was used to make the mantou more colorful and beautiful. Su Yiyen used spinach juice, pumpkin, and purple sweet potato as ingredients. The spinach juice could dye the white dough green, the pumpkin juice could dye the white dough yellow, and the purple sweet potato was purple. Su Yiyen planned to make a lot of these steamed buns at once. Naturally, he needed a lot of raw materials. The dough that he needed could be said to be quite huge. She and the other female chef had limited strength. In the end, they had to ask the male chef who was busy making pancakes for help before they finally finished kneading the dough. When the audience saw this scene, they had already burst into laughter. I've watched the live stream for so long, but this is the first time I've seen the streamer in such a sorry state. Her hands must be sore by the end of the massage. Ha 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 ha, I'm used to seeing the host's omnipotent look. Although I feel a little distressed, I still want to laugh. Sorry, I usually don't laugh easily unless I can't hold it in. Ha 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 ha, logically speaking, these dough balls are so big. They should be even bigger after fermenting. Is the host preparing to make a lot of food? Starry-eyed. Chapter 481. Su Yiyen relaxed her wrist for a while before feeling better. When she saw the message, she smiled faintly and said, "Yes, I need to make more." The audience was overjoyed, thinking that the extra things were prepared for them. Does that mean that we can have a few more slots for the lucky draw later? The winning rate has finally increased. Before the audience could finish their excitement, Su Yiyen poured a bucket of cold water on them. That's not it. These are benefits for the employees who are still working hard today. Many of the expectant audience felt as if their hearts were pierced by thousands of arrows. Some of the new audience members were a little confused. Did I go to the wrong place? Is this really a live broadcast room? Aren't anchors generally very kind to the audience, or even to please the audience? Why is this anchor not only not pleasing the fans, but also pouring cold water on us? What was even more frightening was that there were still so many audience members who did not turn from fans to haters and did not leave the live broadcast room after being humiliated so rudely. The old audience members were also very helpless. They were angry and amused at the same time, but they could not lose their temper at their beloved anchor. Of course I chose to forgive her. Otherwise, what else can I do? I can see that the anchor is really happy today. She is a little floating. Sob, sob, sob. When I think of the anchor's subwoofer husband, I feel like crying. I also want to have a subwoofer husband who says he loves me affectionately every day, then kisses and hugs me high up. If the employees in the restaurant are little cuties, aren't we little cuties too? Please ask if the anchor's restaurant is still hiring people, the kind who went to college and can write programs. The audience in the live broadcast room naturally thought that the employees Su Yiyen mentioned were the ones in her medicinal cuisine restaurant. They decisively began to recommend themselves on the spot. Little did they know that the medicinal cuisine restaurant was closed today and was not open at all. However, when Su Yiyen saw this message, her mind suddenly recalled the joke that Hu Chenhuan had made not long ago. Her eyes turned, and she jokingly said, "Okay, I'll be hiring people in the next 1 or 2 months. Those who can write programs will be priority." The audience member was just joking. He did not expect to be seen by Su Yiyen and get a response. In a split second, some programmers who thought they were capable were overjoyed. They kept asking, "Is it true? When will the recruitment begin?" As soon as Hu Chenhuan heard Su Yiyen's words, she knew what she meant. She found it funny and complicated at the same time. He never thought that there would be a day when he would have to rely on his wife. However, this feeling wasn't bad. Some people who were skilled in this area were happy, but those who had not studied this area were sad. You are about to lose your cute baby. JPG, you are about to lose your cute baby. JPG, Su Yiyen really wanted to laugh when she saw the emoticons all over the screen. Fortunately, these people's attention was quickly attracted by the thing in Su Yiyen's hands. After kneading the dough, Su Yiyen immediately began to make the dumplings. In order to make the dumplings look more beautiful, Su Yiyen used clear noodles and cornstarch. This kind of noodles is called qingmian. Only after boiling it with corn flour and stirring it with boiling water can it become a crystal clear paste. The appearance of the steamed dumplings is as crystal clear as gauze. Qingmian. I've never heard of it. What's cornstarch? Why does the streamer always have some strange things? It should be something that only chefs know. I did a search, and there are indeed such things. It's just that we don't know about it. If I didn't watch the anchor's live broadcast, I wouldn't know that there are so many kinds of flour. Chapter 482. This statement was supported by many people. Most people did not cook their own food. Even if they wanted to eat these things, they would go to high-end restaurants outside. What they ate were all finished products. How would they know what these things were made of? After kneading the dough, Su Yiyan began to roll the dumpling skin. After rolling a few, she handed the job over to the female chef. She went to the side to prepare the stuffing. The stuffing of these dumplings did not have a fixed formula. It was basically chosen according to one's personal taste. Su Yiyan chose a few dishes that she and Hu Chenhuan liked. She shredded and minced them. Her movements were neat and tidy. In just a moment, the small pile of vegetables became a bowl of hua green stuffing. Not to mention the audience in the live broadcast room, even the few people who were busy cooking in the room could not help but be attracted by Su Yiyan's chopping movements. Although there were not many chefs in this era, the family that could afford to hire a chef would not be too bad. Generally speaking, the kitchen would be equipped with some simple tools necessary for a chef. The vegetable cutting machine was one of them. Because of this, many chefs' knife skills were not particularly good. Take the male chef who was assigned to fry the shredded potatoes for example. If he had not seen Su Yiyan cut the shredded potatoes herself, he would not have wanted to try cutting them himself. However, after cutting for a while, he finally faced up to the differences between himself and Su Yiyan. He threw the potato pieces of different thickness into the vegetable cutting machine. People would always have a subtle sense of envy and worship when they could not do something that others could do. That was how the few people in the live broadcast room and many people in the live broadcast room felt. Su Yiyan did not know about this. After making the stuffing, she and the female chef began to make the dumplings. One of the major characteristics of Mandarin duck dumplings was its shape. After the stuffing in the bag was closed, it was pinched tightly from the middle. Then, it was pinched along the sides to the middle. When the sides were pinched again, it would become a small dumpling with concave folds. It was a little like xiaomai. Many people did not even see Su Yiyan's movements clearly. A small dumpling had already appeared in front of them. An army of question marks once again occupied the entire screen. Similarly, the female chef sitting opposite Su Yiyan was also dumbfounded. Su Yiyan also noticed this. He coughed lightly and said, "I wrapped it too quickly just now. This time, I'll wrap it slower. First like this, then like this." The second time, Su Yiyan's wrapping speed was much slower. The female chef saw it clearly, but she was still not very familiar with it. After that, Su Yiyan demonstrated a few more times before the female chef was finally able to make a finished dumpling. However, the shape was still a bit unsightly. The female chef was quite embarrassed. She was clearly a professional who had been specially hired, but in the end, her cooking skills were not as good as the lady boss's. She was really a little depressed. Today was destined to be a day of frustration for these people. Out of curiosity, many viewers in the live streaming channel imitated Su Yiyan and tried to create a few balls. However, all of them failed. Once again, it proves the previous sentence. The streamer's seemingly simple production techniques are really deadly in our hands. Just now, when I tried to imitate the streamer's movements, I almost twisted my hand. Now, my hand has turned into a chicken's claw and I can't break it. There are some things that the streamer does that are pleasing to the eye. When I try to do it, I'm just scratching my claw and becoming depressed. Chapter 483. Su Yiyan could not help but chuckle out loud when she heard the phrase, chicken claw blind. The female chef carefully observed Su Yiyan's movements. After practicing more than 10 times, she gradually became familiar with it. Although she wasn't as fast as Su Yiyan, the things she made weren't as horrible as before. The two of them made a lot of dumplings at the fastest speed and then began to make small wontons. Compared to Mandarin duck dumplings, wontons were much simpler. They just needed to be pinched and wouldn't fall apart. By the time the two of them finished making small wontons and dumplings, the dough was almost fermented. "This is spinach dough, this is pumpkin dough, and this is purple potato dough," Su Yiyen said as he took out a dough each. Two were rolled into skin, one was kneaded into a ball, and the other was wrapped into the dough. The dough was kneaded into the shape of a steamed bun. Then, he used a knife to draw a cross on the steamed bun. There are 3 flavors of dough. You can choose which one to wrap on the outside and which one to wrap on the inside. Actually, you can choose other ingredients, but I suggest you choose ingredients with brighter colors. That way, it will look better when steamed. The steamed bun was easy to make. The female chef was slightly relieved. At least she had regained some confidence as a chef. The dumplings were steamed one by one, and the wontons were boiled in water. By the time the flowering mantus were almost done, the two of them had finished making the soup. The first 2 soups that the female chef was watching were almost done. Su Yiyen asked someone to steam some steamed buns while she taught the female chef who was watching the soup to make 2 types of porridge. The moment everything was cooked, the entire kitchen was filled with the sweet aroma of the soup and porridge. After waiting for so long, it was all worth it. The taste of this chicken soup is amazing. It's not oily or fishy, and the taste is mellow. It's slightly sweet, but it's not too sweet. I feel warm all over after drinking it. I prefer the yam chicken soup. The taste isn't so complicated, and the chicken is delicious. I like this small wonton. The skin is thin and the ingredients are especially good. The taste of the soup is completely different from the pan-fried one. It's super delicious. I really don't know how the streamer's brain works. Not only is the food delicious, but she can also come up with so many different ways to eat it. Upstairs, pay attention to your technique when praising people. At first glance, I thought you were scolding the streamer, laughing emoji. But if we're talking about thin skin, shouldn't the Mandarin duck dumpling have the thinnest skin? This is the first time I've seen such a transparent skin. In the words of the host, it's sparkling and translucent. Looking at it, my maiden heart surged. I want to bring it home and worship it. Is there no one who likes the blossoming mantu? It seems to be quite easy to make, and the finished product is super beautiful. Layer by layer, the color is bright, and it's soft when bitten. It's super delicious. The so-called blossoming steamed bun was a blossoming steamed bun with a cross-shaped knife. After it was steamed, it would expand further and blossom into a flower-like shape, allowing people to see the layers of different colored dough inside. Although this kind of steamed bun didn't have a dent, it had a lot of different flavors and was rich in layers. Once bitten, there was a variety of flavors. The taste didn't lose out to those stuffed buns at all. Su Yiyen saw that although there were some differences in the comments on the bullet screen, they were generally harmonious and rational. She smiled faintly and finished the last few lucky draws. Then, she happily ran out to find her husband for breakfast. Chapter 484. When Su Yiyen put away her apron and came out of the kitchen, she found that everything on the table was still intact. Except for the egg pancake she took out at the beginning, everything else was basically untouched. Why don't you eat? It's so late. Aren't you hungry? I'm waiting for you, Hu Chenhuan said and waved to Su Yiyen, asking her to come to his side. What's wrong? Su Yiyen came to him in confusion. As soon as she finished speaking, her hand was held. His slender fingers rested on her wrist and gently rubbed it, helping her relieve the soreness and fatigue caused by excessive work. Are you happy today? Yes. Su Yiyen did not hide her joy. I made a lot of delicious food today. We can't finish it by ourselves. Let's send some to my mother and Xiaoyang's company. Hua Qinhuan's hands paused slightly. For the people of Xiaoyang's company. Su Yiyan nodded. The employees of their company are still working today, right? Fantasy Feast would be released in 2 days. Therefore, even on the weekend, the employees of Gu Xiaoyang's company were still working overtime to make the final push. They work so hard to make money for us. As their boss's wife, I should give them some benefits to thank them, right? Just because of this. Of course, it was not just because of this. The reason why Su Yiyan got up early in the morning to make so many things to send them was mainly because the game world that allowed Hua Qinhuan to temporarily enjoy the experience of standing on 2 legs was created by them. Even though the idea was originally proposed by Hua Qinhuan, they just followed the request of their boss and restored that world. But reasonably, Su Yiyan still wanted to do something to thank them. Did you just ask several chefs to help you? Yes, it's too time-consuming and troublesome for me to do it alone. It's probably noon when I finished. Hua Qinhuan thought for a moment and asked in a low voice. The audience in the live broadcast room didn't say anything, right? He got up late today and missed a small part of Su Yiyan's live broadcast. He did not know if any of the chefs deliberately made a fuss when they entered the live broadcast room. Although Yu Zian almost sent people to guard Su Yiyan's live broadcast room, Hua Qinhuan was still afraid that Su Yiyan would be wronged if he did not keep watch. The audience in the live broadcast room? No. What could they say? Su Yiyan rolled her eyes and suddenly thought of something. She chuckled softly. Speaking of which, there's a super cute girl in my live streaming room. The expression on Hua Qinhuan's face suddenly froze. Housekeeper, sister. President Hua, who was used to keeping a straight face even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him, felt dizzy when he heard this. After some time, he asked with difficulty. Chapter 485. Hua Qinhuan, who realized that he had jumped from one pit to another, was speechless. Ahem. Hua Qinhuan guiltily avoided Su Yiyan's eyes, not daring to look into her eyes. You can't let your guard down. He might not be lying to you, but you still have to be on your guard. Su Yiyan seemed to be convinced and nodded. Then, she seemed to think of something and chuckled. But the website has changed. Online users have to use their real gender. I looked at his gender column, and it's indeed a girl. Hua Qinhuan's body stiffened again when he heard that. He had deliberately changed that name in order to protect his identity. He didn't expect that it would become his death sentence. Maybe I'm overthinking. Hua Qinhuan was defeated and silently gave up. Su Yiyan stared at his side profile and smiled. She suddenly felt that it was quite fun to scare him occasionally. When Su Yiyan and Hua Jinyao were eating breakfast, the steamed buns, wonton dumplings, and pancakes made by the male chef had already been packed and sent to Gu Xiaoyang's employees. Some Chinese herbs were added to the porridge and soup. In order to avoid unsuitable food for some people, they didn't prepare much and only prepared a portion for home use. Even so, Gu Xiaoyang was dumbfounded when he received the big gift personally delivered by Uncle Zhang. As the person in charge of Fantasy Feast, he was working overtime today and missed Su Yiyan's live broadcast. He didn't know that these things were prepared for the employees who worked overtime over the weekend. Yu Zian and Hua Jinyao knew, but they thought that Su Yiyan was referring to the people in the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Young madam said that you worked overtime over the weekend and didn't know if you had a good meal. She asked me to send you some food. I don't know if it's to your taste, but just make do with it. Gu Xiaoyang looked at the exquisite pastries and rows of wonton soup in the box and thought that if this was considered making do with it, then what they had before was probably pig's feed. Of course. Everyone in the company knows that young madam's cooking is top-notch. If I had known that working overtime would bring me such good luck, I would have let those bastards in the company take over the company. Please go back and thank young madam for her concern for our employees. I will distribute these things to the employees as soon as possible. I'll have to trouble you then. It's no trouble. After sending Uncle Zhang off, Gu Xiaoyang immediately took out his mobile phone and took a 360-degree picture of the spectacular pile of food in front of him. After he took the picture, he sent a picture to the companies to send people to help. The other one was sent to the small group of 3 to show off, tactfully. Young madam personally made the overtime meal. Today's unexpected surprise, is Wai Yen Bai. Yu Xian. The 2 people in the group sent several shocked emojis. In the end, Yu Xian was the first to ask, why? Why did you all get the free meal made by young madam? Only I didn't get it. Gu Xiaoyang immediately said, I'll save a share for you. Yu Xian replied immediately, good brother. I'll go now. Zhou Yanbai looked at the rich food in the picture and was a little tempted, then I'll also, there's no share for you. Get out. Zhou Yanbai. This plastic brotherly relationship really broke just like that. Chapter 486. What happened in the game kept Su Yiyan in a good mood for several days. So much so that on the morning she returned to work in Dongqing, she still talked to Hu Chenhuan about his legs. Kiss me at work, Mua. Su Yiyan quickly leaned over and kissed him when he wasn't paying attention. Do your rehabilitation at home. I'm waiting for the day when you can stand in front of me. Hu Chenhuan had long been used to her sneak attacks. He said indifferently, can't wait. Of course. Although she had seen Hu Chenhuan stand up in the game, the virtual world was still a little different from reality. In comparison, she still hoped to see Hu Chenhuan completely recover in reality. Can't wait to see me stand up as soon as possible, or can't wait to have a fat baby with me as soon as possible. Su Yiyan was stunned and muttered in a low voice, how do you know it must be a fat baby and not a girl? Hu Chenhuan's eyes lit up slightly. A girl is good. I like a girl. So, it's the second kind. Su Yiyan snorted coldly. Can't it be both? After saying that, she turned around and got into the car without waiting for Hu Chenhuan's reaction. Hu Chenhuan looked at her back as she fled. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, but his eyes became inexplicably dangerous. Su Yiyan ran to work in high spirits. As soon as she got out of the car, she saw several groups of reporters squatting not far away. At first, she didn't pay much attention to them. She thought that these reporters were invited by an artist in the company to do publicity. Unexpectedly, as soon as she got out of the car and walked inside, the group of people suddenly moved and quickly surrounded her. Su Yiyan was shocked, and a sense of foreboding rose in her heart. Sure enough, the group of people's goal was very clear. They surrounded her in the blink of an eye. Miss Su, Dongqing used to be your brother's company. You suddenly took over Dongqing. What's your brother's attitude? Miss Su, it's rumored on the internet that your husband is your ex-fiancé's uncle. May I know when you two confirmed your relationship? Miss Su, about the rumors about you and your company's artist, Luo Weibing, is it true that it's just a groundless rumor? Miss Su, Miss Su. One after another, microphones were poked in front of Su Yiyan, wishing that they could poke directly into her mouth and magnify all the words in her heart in front of the public. Su Yiyan's brows furrowed slightly. Her expression was a little unsightly. You've got the wrong person. I'm not a celebrity, so I'm not obligated to answer your questions. I'm going into work, please step aside. The people around her obviously didn't expect Su Yiyan to say so. They were stunned for a moment, but still didn't want to leave. They still surrounded her and didn't step back. Xia Junqing just entered the hall on the first floor. When he was about to go upstairs, he heard someone exclaim, Boss Sue is at the door of our company. She's surrounded by a lot of unscrupulous reporters. She can't get in. Xia Junqing was shocked. He turned his head and saw the movement outside through the glass door. He hurriedly called the security guards to help. Step aside, please step aside. Xia Junqing followed several security guards and quickly pushed the reporters away. He came to Su Yiyan and wanted to escort her out of the encirclement of the group of people. When the crowd saw that Su Yiyan was about to leave, they woke up from a dream. How could they let her go? They began to squeeze in, not forgetting to ask loudly. Chapter 487. Miss Su, are you keeping quiet because you have a guilty conscience? Miss Su, rumor has it that you hooked up with your current husband before breaking off the engagement with your ex-fiancé. You and your ex-fiancé both cheated on each other one after the other. Is that true? Miss Su, an insider revealed that your current husband has been disabled for many years because of an accident and can't stand up anymore. Is that true? Miss Su, one question after another was thrown at Su Yiyan. Looking at the tall and strong security guards in front of them, many people's hearts skipped a beat. In fact, they didn't expect Su Yiyan to give any response. However, because of this, some people had already begun to calculate that if Su Yiyan left like this, they could also fabricate a piece of news that said, the current person in charge of Dongqing City avoided talking about the affair in the face of the author's questions and was suspected of having a guilty conscience. There were many such specious news articles. As long as the word suspected was attached, it wouldn't be considered as a rumor. Su Yiyan was too lazy to answer the questions at first, but then she heard them mention Hu Chenhuan. She stopped in her tracks and her eyes suddenly became fierce. What did you just say? The crowd didn't expect Su Yiyan to suddenly stop and take the initiative to ask them what they had just said. They were stunned for a few seconds before they reacted. Miss Su, an insider revealed that your current husband didn't get injured recently, but has an old injury for many years. That is to say, your husband is disabled. Su Yiyan didn't wait for the person to finish and interrupted him first. My husband's leg is indeed an old injury. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, everyone present couldn't help but gasp. Even Xia Junqing couldn't help but frown, intuitively feeling that things were going to be bad. However, before the reporters could ask again, Su Yiyan had already taken the lead and said, the reason why it's an old injury is that he unfortunately met a Mongolian doctor a few years ago, and the treatment was delayed. Now that he has found a doctor who can really cure him, naturally, it will be better. Miss Su, do you mean that your husband's legs can be cured? Su Yiyan could already tell that this reporter was not friendly, so his reply became even more impolite. The relevant news is still on my public account. If this reporter has eyes, he should be able to see it. The reporter choked and muttered with some dissatisfaction, how can an old injury be cured just because you say so? I'm afraid he's treating everyone as fools. Are you questioning me? Su Yiyan glanced at him coldly and chuckled. Whatever you say. I just hope that you won't be too surprised when you see him walking as if he's flying. When the reporter heard this, he opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he seemed to have thought of something and did not dare to act rashly. Seeing this, the other reporters stepped forward and pushed that person away, trying to dig out more news from Su Yiyan. Miss Su, there's a rumor that you're with your current husband before your engagement with family Hua was annulled. You and family Hua are actually having an affair. Is this true? When did you and your husband get to know each other and confirm your relationship? My husband and I only got together after my engagement with Hua Xiaofeng was annulled. If I was already with him before then, wouldn't it be fine if Hua Xiaofeng and I peacefully annulled our engagement? Why did he have to make such a scene at someone's father's wedding and let everyone know that there's such a piece of trash in his family? Chapter 488. The reporter choked, then continued to ask, "Then when did you two get together?" "We did get together not long after our engagement was annulled. To be precise, they got together right after their engagement was annulled. However, if this were to be revealed, it would cause a lot of criticism. She knew very well that she gradually fell in love with Hu Chenhuan after her death in her previous life. Before that, there was nothing out of the ordinary between them. However, the group of people in front of her didn't know, and neither did the others. Hu Xiaofeng brought his little girlfriend to his father's birthday banquet and publicly asked me to annul my engagement with him to fulfill their wish. During the argument, I was pushed down the stairs by the woman and fell into a coma. My husband couldn't stand it and asked someone to help my parents send me to the hospital. That was when we started to interact." No one could find fault with Su Yiyan's words. The two of them only started to interact officially after their engagement was annulled. Once the engagement was annulled, she would be a free woman. Who she interacted with, who she was with, and whose wife she became, it would no longer have anything to do with the previous one. "Then are you on good terms with your husband now?" "My relationship with my husband isn't good. Who else can I be on good terms with?" "You." Pfft. The reporter who asked the question had interviewed many artists in the industry before. These artists didn't dare to offend the reporter for fear that the reporter would write nonsense, so they usually answered the reporter's questions politely and tactfully. This was the first time he met someone who was so stubborn. His face immediately turned red and he complained in a low voice, "Do you have to be so rude? Don't get angry out of embarrassment." Su Yiyan sneered and didn't give in to him. "In front of the camera, please take responsibility for your words. I can sue you anytime." The reporter's face darkened. Although he was indignant, he still shut his mouth in fear. He might not care about what other people said, but when Su Yiyan said it, he felt an inexplicable sense of panic. After all, President Su sued a bunch of internet celebrities 2 days ago and directly overturned the management company that dared to mess with her artist. Why else would it be said that it was better to offend a villain than a woman? If a woman was really ruthless, there was nothing a man could do. Another reporter took the opportunity to ask, "What kind of person do you think your husband is?" Su Yiyan said without thinking, "Naturally, he's the best man in the world." "I can see that you love your husband very much." Su Yiyan said in her heart, "Of course, if I don't love my husband, do you think I would love those wild men I'm not familiar with outside?" Just as the words were about to come out of his mouth, he thought about it again. This report was very likely to be seen by his sensitive and jealous lover. Su Yiyan's eyes turned slightly, and he immediately changed his mind. "You might not understand even if I tell you about it." All the reporters. What the hell? Was she mocking them for being single? Let's put it this way. Have you ever chased after a celebrity? Everyone was stunned when they heard this. A few of the younger male and female reporters were a little embarrassed. Su Yiyan looked at them and understood. She smiled and said, "If you were to be with your idol or your goddess, can you imagine how it would feel? Of course, they would be so happy that they would want to fly and give their hearts to him or her." Su Yiyan saw the changes in their expressions. She raised the corners of her eyes and said sweetly, "That's how I feel when I'm with him." Chapter 489. What was supposed to be a gathering of reporters suddenly turned into a large-scale public display of affection and abuse of single dogs. The single reporters were speechless. F***ck, she was showing off. She was definitely showing off. "I don't just love him, I also worship him. He's my god. He's not someone ordinary people like you can compare to." Su Yiyan glanced at the reporters surrounding her and sneered. She quickly followed Xia Junxing into the company. By the time the reporters reacted, Su Yiyan had already disappeared. Only the men and women who felt like they had been attacked countless times stood there, gnashing their teeth. Xia Junxing watched the commotion from the side and silently wiped the cold sweat on his head. It was too dangerous just now. I was almost scared to death when I heard what you said to them. Any random clip could become the target of some keyboard warrior's attacks. It really scared him so much that his heartbeat went out of order for a few seconds. Su Yiyan glanced at him and chuckled. What are you afraid of? Don't forget, I'm the boss, not an artist. Although the boss was also the face of the company, artists had their own persona, and the boss naturally had his own persona. Some words were disrespectful to the seniors, immoral and arrogant, but the boss was straightforward, domineering, and daring to love and hate. Xia Junxing was amused by her words. You still know that you're the boss. I thought you'd forget who you are when you heard those reporters talk about your husband. Su Yiyan's face turned red for 2 or 3 seconds, then it turned into an unconcealable pride. Ask someone to keep an eye on the movements of public opinion online. Once you find that someone is taking the opportunity to create trouble, don't be polite to them. Sue them at any time. Xia Junxing was speechless. A woman in love was very scary when she was angry. As soon as Su Yiyan stepped into the company, the incident at the entrance of the company spread to Wu Chenhuan. Young master, young madam went to work this morning and encountered some trouble. Encountered some trouble. Wu Chenhuan's eyes turned cold. Did she suffer a loss? No, the ones who suffered a loss were those reporters. Young madam strongly defended you and your marriage. Defended? Wu Chenhuan's eyes lit up. Is there a video of the scene? Yes. The bodyguard who was in charge of secretly following Su Yiyan today silently took out the video he had recorded and handed it to Wu Chenhuan. Ever since he was assigned to follow young madam and secretly protect her safety, Big Brother bodyguard felt that he was becoming more and more like a stalker and a sightseeing fan. Having a boss who was infatuated with his wife was really scary. Wu Chenhuan didn't know what the bodyguard was thinking. After she saw the whole thing, especially when she saw Su Yiyan say that he was her god in front of so many people, her eyes were so gentle that they could drip water. The bodyguard felt jealous as he watched from the side. He envied his boss for having a wife who liked him so much and protected him so much. It was because he was envious that he tried to remind him, young master, there's nothing wrong with young madam's actions. I'm just worried that some people might take these things out of context and deliberately slander you and young madam. Upon hearing his words, Wu Chenhuan's gentle gaze instantly turned as sharp as a knife. Find a few celebrities or VIPs from Yinyan's company and post this video. Also, find out which newspaper companies the reporters who asked Yinyan questions came from. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.